I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
America, the land of immigrants, the home of many nations. Countless faces make up our wonderful nation. This is a huge part of what makes this country so beautiful.
My name is Miguel Hernandez, and I am an American.
My name is Adrian. I'm an American.
My name is Bilal. I'm a legal resident.
Shelly Komarov, and I'm an American.
Documented America. Let's explore the I word. Illegal immigration.
My name is Bill Pritchett.
My name is Michelle Delacroix.
My name is Carl Schusterman.
My name is Cynthia Rodriguez-Matthews.
Mike Antonovich. I'm a member of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors.
But are we so beautiful with illegal immigration so prevalent in our nation? Does illegal immigration hurt us or help us? And just who are these illegal aliens?
Illegal aliens come in all different colors, sizes, and shapes. They come from all over the world. We get a greater impact from Mexico, from Central America, and from South America because of the geography.
A lot of people, when we talk about illegal immigrants, we immediately think about Mexico and Mexicans, and that is because we border that country.
Because we share a contiguous border with Mexico, by and large, the number of apprehensions and the number of foreign nationals we do encounter illegally present in the United States are foreign nationals from Mexico.
We have people coming in containers illegally from Asian and European countries. We have people coming from Africa. They come from all over.
However, we do interdict and we do come across foreign nationals illegally present in the United States from all over the world, everywhere across the world.
So it seems this heated debate about illegal immigration isn't just about our neighbors to the south.
There are numerous political, social, and economic impacts which cause people to want to migrate from their countries of national origin to the United States.
And I'd be willing to bet that right now we have many illegals from Iraq and Afghanistan that are trying to come into this country just to be safe.
Illegals and immigrants are not tied together altogether. You can be an immigrant and be here legally and be a citizen of the United States. I think that being here illegally means that you have not gone through the process. You have not gone through the process to be a United States citizen. So I think when you use the word immigrant, I think there's some confusion there because there's a difference between immigrants and people that are here illegally.
Rise and shine, it's wake up time.
Don't hire illegals! Don't hire illegals! Do not hire illegals! Do not hire illegals! Don't hire illegals!
Why are we here at this home day? We're cleaning up our communities.
That's
we don't
right.
want 100 loitering unemployed men in every street corner of San Diego ruining this beautiful community.
They have encampments behind here with mattresses in the trees and filth and garbage and disease. Would you like that in your community?
No.
Well,
we don't either.
Illegal is illegal. What is it you don't understand?
When has human nature just stopped because someone says it's unlawful? How many times have you gone over the speed limit?
Mothers Against Illegal Aliens was formed in order to protect the American legal citizen children who are below the age of 18, who don't have a voice today, but that the mothers and the families of America are the protectors of these children under 18 years old, because the decisions that are made today in Congress in regards to illegal immigration, those senators might be dead in 25 years or 18 years when these children are going to vote. And it's up to the mothers, as any mother in any family protects their child. It's up to us to protect them in their own country as well, not just within our home, but within our home country.
The organization I belong to goes by the name of You Don't Speak For Me. This is an American human rights organization that's devoted to advancing the interest of American Hispanics in the United States. American Hispanics who support this country and its Constitution. It's an organization of American Hispanics who support the enforcement of immigration laws at all levels of government. And we're a group of American Hispanics who support the full security of our southern border.
I'm a Chicano. I'm, 550 years in this country? I fought with the brown berets during the 60s and the 70s to change the way this country was. The same thing as the Black Panthers back then. We got the Federation. We got Chicano Park. We got the kids programs going. We were the ones that did it. But when they started carrying that red, white, and green flag, it ain't for me, bro. This is who I am. And I'm proud of that flag, and I'm proud of the people that stand there. I'm the people that stand up for it.
We come from all walks of life. We have members with heritage from all of Latin America, Mexico, Peru, Ecuador, Nicaragua, you name it, Colombia. So all of us have one thing in common, which is love for America. This is our country. This is our only country. We have allegiance only to the United States of America. And we are concerned about this problem, this menacing issue of illegal aliens in America. These are not immigrants. We have to face the facts that these are people who can legitimately be called invaders because they were given no permission to be in this country under those premises. We are American Hispanics who understand who we are as Americans. Yeah, we have a heritage that goes back to Latin America, but we're Americans first. As a matter of fact, we're Americans only. I naturalized 10 years ago almost. As a matter of fact, 1995 I naturalized. At that day, I renounced any allegiance I had to my former government because it was common sense for me. If I love America, I want to become an American, swearing to the flag, to defend, to uphold the Constitution of the United States. I am proud that I did that then. I am proud today, and I will be till the day that I die.
You know, if these people like that would take the illegals to their house, feed them, clothe them, hospitalize them, pay for their children and everything else, I'd be happy. I'd be happy in the junkyard now. But as long as I got to do it, last year alone, Mexico received over 20 billion untaxed dollars from the illegals.
Did he say $20 billion? Whoa.
That's the second largest part of their economy overall. They shut down 38 hospitals in the state of California because they went bankrupt. Because these people use the hospitals as the emergency rooms as a doctor's office. They went bankrupt. I ride a motorcycle. I go into the rural parts of the county where they used to have hospitals. Not no more. You know, when does it stop, bro? Where does it stop?
Where does it stop? Whether acting as organized groups or as individuals, in rapidly increasing numbers, people on both sides of the issue are taking a stand.
When I saw, on the day without illegals, people standing up in downtown Los Angeles in particular, waving big Mexican flags, shouting, "Si se puede." I stood up in my living room, and I knew at the moment that I did that, people were standing up all over America and saying, "Oh my gosh, what's going on here?"
Our intention is to have three things: peace, love, and mutual respect, which means no separation for the families, fair rules for the undocumented workers. They are part of this society. They are part of the integration. They want to be part of the integration. They want to be useful. They want to be an American icon and build on. You know, that's all what their intention is.
Cinco de Mayo, I was down at the Mexican consulate. You were there. Someone had said to a lady that was working there, a Hispanic lady, "You're not going to take our country." And she said to him, "We already have. It's about losing our Constitution, and I'm going to be part of what's not going to let that happen. We got to keep this country sovereign."
The issue is not the legal or illegal immigration by itself, but what they think, what they're doing, destroy our economy. That's the other issue. But when they take back the state of California or any state in U.S., over your dead body, you should promise that to help us to do that, to prevent things from happening this way. And that's why I come out. Even I am immigration. I'm supposed to protect the immigration. I'm supposed to be on their side, not in the other side. But I have to be in between, and I have to remember all of you in here. It is your land. Your ancestors spent the sweat, the tear, the blood to hold it for so many years, over 200 years. Hold it on. Stay with us. Fight for it. Even with your dead body or with anything else, anyone can walk and then take the country away from us? No.
They not belong in my land because I'm an Indian.
It's my property. And they come after that, they come in a boat. They come in a boat and they start to disturb my land. They stole my country because it's my land. And they used to be for my paisas, Mexican paisas. That land that was belong to them. That's what I'm saying. I'm really sorry, but it's the truth. Many Mexicans not belong to my piece of land. It's my land.
Hey, you guys can sign him up, Claudia. I think he'd be great with you.
Idiots, go back home.
Sign him up. Hurry up, go catch him. He confronts Minuteman. You guys would love that. Get his phone number.
You get
Bye-bye.
What are you doing here?
I have a life. You got papers, buddy?
He's the one who's harassing. Seems to be.
Hey, see the signs? You got them? You don't, do you? You don't.
I swear I saw him on Catch a Predator.
I saw you coming over the fence, you jerk.
No,
we're not going anywhere. Tell me to back away from you.
Back away from me.
I ain't going to do it. So now what are you going to do?
Back away from me.
I'm not doing it.
I got the police right there watching
I know.
you.
That's why I'm glad they are watching, because they know you're a jerk. They know you're a jerk.
You're a jerk.
Who's
You're bothering me.
Who's backing? Who's backing?
You're a piece of you know what.
Who's backing?
Look at you. Look at you and look at me.
Right.
All right, thank you. Go on home.
People that can't do anything, like in Mexico, who have to pay for their school and all that stuff, they come here and they use our resources because they know we got something good here. And you get these guys that have absolutely nothing to do. They're bored and retired, and they need to take up swimming or something. And they're just out here protesting because they're bigots. They're really racist, and they don't know how to say it. They're just racist people.
Did you get mangoes? They give you a box of mangoes. I know they did.
Nah, must have been avocados.
Our position is in demonstrations like these, to have enough officers there to preserve the peace, basically talk to both sides of the groups, if we're not familiar with them, to let them know what the ground rules are, what they can and can't do, what the First Amendment allows them to do and not to do. For example, breaching the peace or infringing on other people's rights to enjoy their freedoms. And once we've established a ground rule, we just maintain a posture of preserving the peace, basically monitoring their actions, make sure they're complying with the law, and in case an altercation does occur, which leads into a physical altercation, that we have enough officers there to preserve the peace, make sure we're there to intervene and keep people from injuring themselves or property.
The unfortunate part about all this here disagreement is that this is a federal issue, and the federal government needs to resolve the issue, not the local people. This is costing San Diego thousands of dollars. If you just look around, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 police officers here. San Diego can't afford to have all these police out here on an insignificant issue like this that really is not a San Diego issue. It's a federal government issue. And if you call the police right now, you will not get through a dispatcher because they don't have enough police to dispatch to an emergency, because they have to be out here resolving an issue that's a federal government issue. So this issue needs to go back to the Congress and needs to get solved there, not by our local people.
By having officers here in these numbers does not have a adverse impact on public safety. The officers have the radios, have all the equipment they need to respond to a emergency situation. Let's say, for example, a 911 call. They have their cars. The other thing is that the officers that are here are responsible. Their beat is this area, so they're within a few minutes driving time within the beat. So the only impact is to the division or to this area station that are officers, and instead of being on patrol, roving, waiting for a call to come out, they're just stationary, for example, here, just preserving the peace, basically.
I think everybody should know about Jesse Lee Peterson. Do you know who he is? He's a black man who wrote a book called Scam, about the scam on black America by Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all those leaders. It's the most phenomenal book. One of the big things that he said in a meeting that I went to recently, he is a fabulous speaker. He's doing amazing things for the black culture here in America. And he said, most of you people, he said, I'm self-proclaimed. I am black as the ace of spades. And he said, I want all of you, who most of you out there are white, and I want you to know one thing. When it comes to illegal aliens, everyone is going to say that you're racist. Do not listen to them. Fight for your rights against illegal aliens. Do not let that be said about you. All of you are afraid because of the race issues that we've had in this country and in this world. No, don't let it happen. You are not racist. You're here to protect your country and your children, and that's what you're doing here.
It's my land. It's my land, homies. I'm an Indian, and those guys, the Minimans, the white guys, they not belong to my land. Not belong to my land. That's it. Sorry.
A lot of what I see going on is happened in this country before. And we have an administration that's making things tough for everybody. And when things get tough, the first thing, the scapegoat is the immigrant. And it's happening all over again. And it's always like either the Irish or the Jew or somebody, or the Italians taking jobs, and then they become nativists. And they're born here, and their kids grow up. And that next generation comes, I'm pulling the ladder up behind me. I don't want anybody else here. I don't want anybody else taking my job. And you always see it when things get tough, Civil War or the Depression, they line up somebody and say, it's them.
Stop being deer in the headlights. Rise and shine. It's wake-up time.
That's right. And we
We're
cannot
here
do it
because
by ourselves.
President Bush refuses to do his job as commander-in-chief. He refuses to enforce the immigration laws.
That's right.
He refuses.
That's right.
To secure the border. I'm down in Campo, California every day. Where are the National Guards? They're nowhere to be seen. Come on, Arnie. Action talks and talk walks. I want to see National Guard down in Campo. I want to see them in Potrero. I want to see them in Boulevard. I want to see them in Tierra del Sol. I want to see them in Del Zero. Where are they?
Is that good? Is that
Action
right?
talks
Yes.
and
Wake
talk
up.
walks.
Wake up, America. Wake up, America. You got
We
to do
need
it
more
together.
action from the silver screen Terminator, a paper Terminator, the girly man. Come on, girly man. Get the National Guard down on the border.
Wasn't that a fun afternoon?
With all this heated debate on the subject of immigration, why has there been no resolution? Is it A, because NASA has not yet confirmed the presence of aliens to determine whether or not they're illegal? B, because Congress has yet to make laws governing immigration? Or C, the government has purposely refused to enforce existing laws?
We do have immigration laws. They do exist. It's not as though we don't have them and our Senate needs to formulate some new wonderful plan. We do have them, they just haven't been enforced.
You are correct. In fact, the laws governing immigration can be found in the United States Code, Title 8, Chapter 12. While citizens and special interest groups battle it out on the streets, the biggest brawl can be found between federal, state, and local governments, as they fight for the authority to control and enforce immigration policies.
In 1994, California passed Proposition 187, which denied many government benefits to illegal aliens. The Supreme Court declared most of Proposition 187 to be unconstitutional, in that the enforcement of immigration laws under the Constitution was primarily a federal responsibility. That decision puts some serious limits on the ability of state governments to deal with the issue.
Though this ruling assigned responsibility for immigration policy and enforcement to the federal government, many state and local agencies, public and private, are forced to manage federal mandates, oftentimes without adequate resources.
Where we have the EMTALA laws in the federal government requirements, which is a requirement on the part of a hospital to treat first, ask questions later. They just dump it on us. You provide the care, you're obligated. And we've been able to do that in the 30 years I've been in this business. We've been able to do it in the past because we just cost shifted. But now with managed care, the employers no longer can afford to pay the higher prices and have cut down what they pay, and they pay as little or less than the government now. So there just isn't that cushion for us to provide that free care. Our hospital provides about $8 to $10 million in free care a year, charity care, if you will. $4 million of it is just the Border Patrol related people that come across the border.
To add to the confusion, many local authorities have enacted policies which in some cases stand in stark opposition to federal laws. In 1979, LAPD Police Chief Daryl Gates issued Special Order No. 40. Under this order, local officers were prohibited from enforcing United States immigration laws. In Section 1 of its procedural mandates, it was declared that officers shall not arrest nor book persons for violation of Title 8, Section 1325 of the United States Immigration Code.
They call these sanctuary orders that they have in many cities like Chicago, Houston, Texas, many places. Anywhere that you see massive amounts of illegal alien men either laying on your corners, standing on your corners, chances are, if that sounds familiar to you, you have a sanctuary order in your town.
For every city council, for every mayor, we must demand sanctuary city status. We can win this fight. We are going to win this fight. The racists are going to lose.
And those sanctuary orders are made because the Latino communities like La Mecha and La Raza, they come together with the council members and the mayors of towns, and they sell it to the people by saying, well, the Latino people in your community, they will not come forward to help with criminal activity or crimes unless they feel that they have some protection that they're not going to be deported. And because we have such a high content of drug dealers and methamphetamines, the police track these people down, and they think that in order for them to solve these crimes, they need sanctuary orders in order for the Latino community, the illegal community that speaks Spanish, for them to want to communicate and work with the police department. And this is how they've sold it to them. Then you have the ACLU being part of this, and this is really a conspiracy against the American people and the people within the communities.
As policies on all levels continue to clash, what messages are being sent?
The district policy and actually state policy says that we're not allowed to ask parents the status of their children or the parents. And there used to be a time when parents brought their children in, they would have to wait a day before the child could start school. Now, district policy, the child comes to school that day and they start that day. The school secretaries are not allowed to require that they bring in birth certificates, papers, and things like that to start school. They can start school without any papers whatsoever. They ask everyone for documentation. If you have it, then you bring it. If you don't have it, they're not going to say your child cannot start school because you don't have it. And that is not to do with immigration. It's actually to do with homeless students. It's because a lot of homeless students do not have documentation. They've lost it because they're transient. And so it's not to discriminate against homeless students. That is why they have that ruling. It's nothing to do with immigration, but it covers them.
We as Americans need to be educated and informed as to the legislative language which stated that it takes a citizen to make a citizen. If you read the 14th Amendment, it clearly states that you have to be born or naturalized in the United States, which means born or naturalized, and I never knew that a three-letter word could hold so much power. But it does, because it ties in and the jurisdiction of the United States to become a citizen, which to become a citizen of this country is priceless to me. If you're under the jurisdiction fully, under the jurisdiction of America, that means that you can legally sit on a jury, which is one of our jobs as citizens, is to sit on jury duty. An illegal alien woman cannot serve jury duty, which means the women who are having all these children, if they can't sit on jury duty, none of their children are under the jurisdiction of this country.
A million illegal immigrants probably live in the United States.
I think there's too many to even count.
I'd say 4 million illegal immigrants live in the United States.
I believe there's 15 to 20 million.
I don't know, thousands maybe?
They're probably about 35%, 40% of the population right now.
I'd say about 1 million.
I'd say about 2 million.
I really don't think anybody knows how many illegal immigrants are around here, because there's just too many to know.
There are about 1 to 2 million people that are in this county of Los Angeles who are illegal. They have a severe impact in the schools. They have a severe impact with the healthcare delivery system. It's approximately $360 million a year that they impact our county hospitals. So in a survey that had been done a couple years ago, approximately 25% of our jail inmates are illegal alien. Their cost exceeds $150 million a year. This does not include the cost for those in the juvenile facilities or the cost to the Superior Court for the due process which these individuals go through, or the other hidden costs that we have relative to the district attorney and the public defender who is responsible for the prosecution and the defending of these individuals. In our Department of Public Social Services, the cost of welfare for the children who are born here legally of illegal aliens is about $276 million a year. But what's ironic is the federal government requires that their parents who are here illegally have to go through job training programs when in fact they can't obtain a job because they're not here legally and they don't have a Social Security number. So it's a very confused system why the federal government needs to adopt immigration reform, dealing with this serious issue that impacts every city, county, and state in this nation. It's in the billions of dollars, the impact to education, relative to overcrowdedness, having to build new schools, having English as a second language, taking resources away from those children who are here legally in order to provide an educational upbringing to standards of those who are here illegally, not having resources for books, not having resources for school supplies, and as a result, we have a decay in public education. And that's why I've been very involved in supporting educational scholarships so that children could go to a school of their choice if they're forced in a neighborhood school that is an inferior school and learning is not taking place. And we need to do that along with providing greater reforms at the local level. Our emergency centers are there for emergency purposes, but many of the illegals use the emergency rooms for their comprehensive health care center. And that takes away from the attention of those patients who need rapid attention for saving of a life versus a person's there because they have tonsillitis and could be better served in a comprehensive health center.
Depending on who's doing the counting, an estimated 10 to 30 million people are present in the United States illegally. With a national population of nearly 300 million, as many as 1 out of 16 people living in the United States are illegal. Undocumented and over here, this faceless society, even at its lowest estimates, exceeds the population of entire nations.
In the realm of illegal immigration, it is not illegal immigration that has created this market for information. It is actually the counter thrusts to something else. Employers must have a Social Security number to employ somebody.
Someone has come into this country illegally. They need to establish themselves as far as a name and a Social Security number if they are going to make a living, assuming they're going for a job where there's not an employer who's just going to sort of do it with closed eyes and say, I'll hire you anyway.
To get around this, people who are in the country illegally have to come up with a Social Security number.
Identity theft is a ridiculously easy crime to commit.
I want you to stop and think about this. Every place that your mother ever took you to a doctor, to a dentist, every school that you have ever been in, any time that you have ever been involved with a hospital or some sort of medical facility, any special programs that you ever participated in, the colleges that you attended, the classes that you took, every job application, every apartment application, every dorm application, your personal information is there. Your insurance company, your accountant, the DMV, the company that you bought your car from, the company that you bought your second car from, the company that you just bought your brand new Mercedes from. Every one of these has your Social Security number in their files or on their premises. You're not standing there in front of me all alone. You are leaving bits and pieces of you all over the world.
Identity theft is a crime of opportunity. And any opportunity or any need there is, they will take advantage of. Identity theft, unlike many other crimes where I've been assaulted, someone's stolen my purse. The crime is over, I go on with my life. With identity theft, there is a continual source of fear somewhere inside, and you keep it buried deep as far as you can so that you don't go into this constant state of hysteria of, is someone going to use my identity again?
50% are using that. Can you say? Is it easy to get? I paid $159 to get just a little card for a social security number. I use that my social security for my own benefits and for the things that I need.
Average annual loss to business, $47 to $50 billion. Average out-of-pocket expenses paid by consumers annually, $6 billion. Average cost to buy your information and ruin your life, around $125. Despite the extreme danger and potential to get caught, each year more than 500,000 people cross the border, illegally entering the United States.
My first time come 1990, and I lived 16 years in San Diego.
Para Estados Unidos yo desde los 15 años ando allá.
He says that when he migrated from the United States, he was 15. But he says that ever since he's been getting deported. But he's been in the United States since he was 15. He says that it's been a lot of times.
Muchas, no.
He can't remember how many times. I don't know if he.
Son bastantes.
What's a lot? Like 5, 10?
5, 10, no. 50, 60.
Yeah, I'm across 3 times for this space. It's too easy for me. I'm put my life for my family, you know. Whatever I take, you know. I need to go over there.
My name is Deepa Malareddy, and I'm a volunteer at Casa de Immigrante.
My name is Hector Fierro, and I'm a coordinator at Casa Immigrant.
It's a place for migrants to have a place to stay while they're in transition, whether they've come here from the south, whether they're going to cross, or if they've been deported. What I've noticed is if they're about to cross, they have a different look about them, a different attitude, you know, because they haven't experienced perhaps being deported yet. However, the other people who have been deported, it not necessarily is their first time, so it's interesting just, you know, telling us that they lived in the States for 5 years or 20 years, and all of a sudden they're sent back. You know, it changes your sense of community and your sense of belonging.
I went to USA when I was 9 years old, so I went to a study over there. My mom took me there, so, and then I was doing my life like, let's see, like I was an American, because I was going to work, I was paying my rent, and I was paying my car. I never get in trouble, so, and I was doing just like the way I'm saying right now. So after many years, I forgot that I was illegal. So on my mind, I thought I was American, like I got my passport, like papers, but I forget I was like, I was illegal. So when I got the accident, I got a car accident, excuse me, they sent me to jail for like 2 weeks, so they checked my record, so that's why I got deported.
Yeah, I had 2 kids, 1 boy and 1 girl, and all my wife, my sister, my brothers, all my family there.
So now I'm here, so I don't know what decision to make.
You know, it's too hard to break the law, but I need to work, I need my family, you know, everybody needs. It's better this side.
So if it is better on this side, what are the dangers one will face when crossing over?
The types of injuries and things that we treat from the border incidents usually are related to dehydration, especially in the summertime, because it gets to 115 to 120 every day in the desert out there. And that's 100 miles, 120 miles of desert border. And those that do choose to come across often are unprepared for that. And in saving their lives, we have to immediately hydrate them. Without that, they die.
They are not prepared for the elements. Even here in San Diego, we get tremendous snowstorms out in the East County. There will be A freezing rain may come in the early afternoon. The people are wet. The temperature plummets to below freezing. People die of hypothermia.
There are a significant number that are trauma, as I indicated before. In vans, sometimes they'll have a chase and there'll be a rollover and they'll be loaded with 10, 12, 14 patients. So we trauma those patients out, take care of as many as we can, send some to Arizona, some to North County, and some over to San Diego, and take care of as many as we can, depending on the numbers. So the types of injuries are those related to traumas from automobile injuries and accidents, those that climb the border and jump off the fence and break their ankles. There's a significant number of those for a while. They seem to not be breaking their ankles and legs as much because they figured out other ways to get around or above the fence. But every time we do some intervention, they figure out a way around it, and then there are injuries that come from that. And they show up in my emergency rooms.
So let's explore the economics of illegal immigration.
I feel a lot of Americans wouldn't do a lot of this work that's given to these illegal aliens. They want to sit behind a desk, eat a lot of Twinkies, and that's just how most Americans are. And it's because they're lazy. They don't want to do nothing. These guys wake up at 5 in the morning and go do their road work running.
One of the big follies is about the economics, the job that the Americans won't do. First of all, there is no such thing.
Are today's legal Americans willing to put forth the effort our forefathers did generations before us?
Well, due to the nature of the work, I don't see a whole bunch of people knocking my door down to come out here and help me with the vineyard. That would be zero, actually. Other than occasionally a guy driving down my driveway with a pickup truck asking for work. Generally, trabajo. Yeah, that's about it. I was approached by one of the local wineries last year, and they said that they would buy all of my grapes so long as they took care of the vineyard themselves. It's called an estate vineyard now, and so long as they take care of all the pruning and watering and fertilizing and weed control and everything, they can bottle my grapes as an estate bottle, which, if it's a good wine, should produce a higher income for them. So it's in their interest to take very good care of my vineyard. I know that I pay them about $12 an hour, and that's supposed to be their cost. So I would guess that it's close to that.
If everything was fixed where they had to pay, the way they are supposed to, there will be more people willing to do that kind of jobs that they say Americans would not do. They would not do it at the little pennies that they're getting paid for, but they probably would do it at the right salary.
I think they would do it at $22 an hour, sure. Yeah, they would do it, and then when we go buy bananas, we'll be paying $50 a pound. I think, yeah, it's the economy. I think that's why they haven't really pushed it so much, because we would probably feel it, sure. We'd be paying a lot of money for a lot of things.
According to Lou Dobbs on CNN, on a $1 head of lettuce, the farmer gets about 18 cents, and the cost of wages and benefits is about 6 cents. If immigration reform severely restricts the labor pool, wages could go up from their current average of $9.50 an hour up to $14.50 an hour, potentially increasing the cost of that head of lettuce by just 3 to 10 cents. Because the cost of farm labor is such a small percentage of the overall cost of produce, the food bill for fresh fruits and vegetables would increase by less than $10 a year for the average family.
When you talk about figures that oscillate between 15 and 20 million people who don't belong in this country, people who, for the most part, don't have trades, don't have education or skills. That's the type of people that are in this country when they're here illegally. For the most part, this affects the black community. It affects the legal Hispanic community in America, and it affects the American poor class in general. Because if you talk about education, our kids are being threatened by the results of illegal immigration in this country, simply because reports say that 30% of high school students are dropping out of high school. 30%. That's roughly 7,000 kids who are dropping out per school day. Now, obviously, these kids will be going into society unprepared. They have no formal training. They have no skills, hardly are able to read and write. So they're out there in society. They're going to try to make it without a formal education. So they're in direct competition with illegal aliens who, for the most part also, as I said before, they have no skills, they have no education, they can hardly read and write. So they're in direct competition for those types of jobs, menial labor, low-paying jobs that are available. So the problem then becomes that if our kids, if our high school dropouts, including African Americans who, in the African American community, 48% of African American high school students are dropping out also. 48%, that's alarming. So let's keep those two things in mind, because if it were a fair playing field, okay, it's whoever's more capable of getting the job will get it, in spite of the fact that they're illegally here. But the illegal aliens, if they have to, they will market themselves at half the salary of the American kids. So it would make common sense, it would be common sense for those criminal employers to take advantage of illegal aliens who will do the job for half the pay, keep our American kids out of the playing field, and basically pay no taxes on the illegal aliens, offer them no benefits. In the end, it's the criminal employers who benefit from all this. And I'm concerned about it because, as Americans, we have to defend this country in all angles. Kids, the poor class in America, the middle class in America is also being threatened. And I'm concerned, and I wish politicians would take some action as far as enforcing immigration laws.
I think President Bush is quite happy with the illegal alien situation in this country. I think he likes the idea of having illegal aliens. I think for corporations, it's good to have an underclass of people who you don't have to pay a lot of money and you can forget about them. He has this huge ranch in Texas. Who knows how many illegal aliens he has on that ranch? I think he likes the idea. Politically for him, he has to take a stand because California with a Republican governor is making a lot of noise. And Arizona with a Republican governor is making a lot of noise. But if it was left up to him, I don't think he would do anything.
If you effectively turn a blind eye and continue to allow an undocumented or illegal force to come in to work that, all it does is allow for exploitation of labor. The only ones that benefit from that are the illegally operating companies that hire these folks and the corrupt people in legislation who have their pockets lined with the monies of lobbyists in order to do that. And the only ones that are getting the raw end of the deal are those exploited laborers that come in.
I think this is nature of capitalism. It's been going on for centuries. That's how Chinese laborers are brought here to work on the railroad in the early 1900s. And it's because corporations wanted to cut the cost to get the cheap, so they have to get the cheap labor because labor is one of the most expensive expense for corporations. And there are always poor countries who had so many laborers who wanted to get the job, but they can't find a job in their poor country. And there are always, such as United States, big successful countries whose companies need cheap labor.
So a guy came out to our house and he wanted to, he quoted us a price of $300 to do our lawn, and we just couldn't afford it. So a Hispanic guy who came out, I think that he's legal, but I'm pretty sure that the people that he has working for him are not legal, and he charges us $90 a month, and it's just really expensive in San Diego to own a home anyway. And I would love to be able to support the American business, but it's just really hard to afford $300 a month. And I realize he has to get health care and things like that for his people, but $90 is a lot more affordable than $300. So, I mean, I feel bad. I like to buy American whenever I can, but, you have to do what you have to do.
Well, the South's argument was, hey, we can't free the slaves because then who's going to pick the cotton?
Exactly. Who is going to pick the cotton? What is the United States immigration policy?
My name's Carl Schusterman. I'm an immigration attorney. I've practiced immigration law both for the Immigration Service and in private practice for the last 30 years. the laws allow in a certain quota of people to the United States each year. The laws have changed fairly drastically since my grandparents came to the United States, when all you had to do was show up and prove that you were not a criminal or didn't have a dangerous, contagious disease. So now we have an unfortunate situation where people who come here to work, to own homes, to send their kids to school are classified as illegal, where if their grandparents had come over, they would have had an easy time coming to the U.S. and becoming legal.
Laszlo Lugosi, who is no longer with us, shared his personal story.
When I left Hungary, the communist Hungarian government stripped me from my Hungarian citizenship. And it took me 5 years after I arrived here in 1950 to become an American citizen. So when I took the oath, after that I bought 2 bottles of champagne and went to work, and I said, here I am, American citizen. So all my colleagues, they chipped in, and we celebrated with the champagne, the bubbly stuff. I felt so great that now I belong somewhere. In other words, the Hungarian citizenship is gone, and I became American citizen. So I was a man without any country for about 10 years. So I felt very, very warm to become an American citizen.
Legal immigration system to the United States breaks down like this. In the last year, approximately 1 million people were admitted to the United States as permanent residents. About 60% of those people are immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, which means they're either married to a U.S. citizen, they're parents of an adult U.S. citizen, or they have children that are U.S. citizens. In addition to that, there are certain numerically limited, by the way, immediate relatives don't have any numerical limits, so the amount that come into the U.S. each year rises 6 or 7% per year. But the people who are subject to numerical limits are people who have more distant relatives. Say if you're from the Philippines and you have a sister or brother in the United States who's a citizen, it would take you 22 years to come for that sister or brother to immigrate to the United States. My wife happens to be from the Philippines, and our immigration laws, our legal immigration laws, are so broken these days that right when she became a citizen in the 1970s, she applied for her brothers and sisters, and by the time the 22-year wait was over, their kids were over 21, so they didn't want to break up the families, so they ended up immigrating to other countries. One of the many changes I'd like to see in the immigration laws, that families could stay together.
I waited for about 20 years to get my paperwork to come here. And even after coming here, after getting the paperwork, I didn't get for my son the visa to come here. So my becoming a citizen will allow me to sponsor my son. So right now in my country, though we have problems, if there were no problems, if our country was 50 years back, if it was what it was, maybe I will still like to be there. If the situation is, each country has their own problems with the war coming in and the economy going down, so most of them come for greener pastures to make your life better here.
There are other things like the visa lottery, which allows 50,000 people just from some countries. Other countries are excluded, like Mexico is excluded, Philippines is excluded. But if you're, from Afghanistan or something, you can apply for the visa lottery, and if you're one of the 50,000 lucky winners, you can go ahead and get a green card and bypass those other people whose brothers or sisters applied for them 22 years ago. A lot of professions that the United States doesn't seem to be able to educate enough people to take care of our population, we bring in from abroad.
Is the immigration policy regarding people with a profession different from those who are uneducated?
It was actually very easy because those days America wanted physicians. And once you applied to one of the hospitals and they decided to take you, depending on your recommendations and your ECFMG scores, then they would take care of everything.
And the American embassy in Cairo, Egypt, they have very unique system that they select a certain professional to come here. They do not just accept anybody. At the time I was applying for immigration, and that time they only accept the doctor, physician, and the pharmacist, and the engineer, and the technician. This is only people they can accept. So it happened to be I'm one of those people they're looking for. So I just put an application. I waited 6 months, was accepted, they gave me the visa, and I came here.
The United States is not going to be secure unless we're the leader in technology. And right now, a lot of Indians, a lot of Chinese, high-tech people, PhD type of people, have given up on the United States because the visa system is just so long. In the Senate bill that was passed just a few weeks ago, there's a new acronym. It's called STEM, and it stands for Scientific, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And they would vastly increase the quotas of people who have degrees, especially higher degrees, who are under that STEM system. I think we're lucky that we're a country where people want to come to. I mean, imagine if those people said, we'd rather stay in China, or we would rather stay in India, or God forbid, we'd rather accept the offer of the Iranian government and build nuclear missiles to shoot at you guys. We'd be in really bad shape. So I think we're lucky, in fact, that these people do want to come to the United States.
Why is this issue so hard to solve?
Immigration law is a constantly changing series of laws. I don't think, since I've been an immigration lawyer for 30 years, I don't think there's been a single year that Congress didn't pass one or more laws that relate to immigration.
Well, I think what's been put on the table is very interesting. We have over 435 congresspeople and 100 senators, and they still don't get it right.
So it seems Congress, within its own doors, must have a lot of conflicts.
Sure, you've got several different conflicts going on at once. You have the president and Congress. The position of the president is different from the position of many in Congress. You have the House versus the Senate. Senate has passed legislation that does not satisfy those who favor enforcement first. The House has passed a much tougher measure. You have Republicans versus Democrats. Republicans are much more likely to favor the enforcement first policy. Democrats are much more likely to favor a policy that would include path to citizenship, amnesty, however you decide to characterize it. And also you have differences within each party. You have a lot of Republicans who favor the get tough policy, but also some Republicans who favor path to citizenship, guest worker program, provisions such as that. Reflects a difference between some of the grassroots activists on the one hand and business interests on the other. You also have differences within the Democratic Party. You have labor union leaders who see undocumented aliens as a potential source of union recruiting, but you also have a lot of union rank and file members who are worried about the impact on wages. So you have several different levels of conflict at once, which makes it very difficult to reach a resolution in Congress.
So how about the amnesty bill? Is it a good thing or a complete disaster?
Well, I support legal immigration. However, for those to be rewarded who came here illegally with legalization is an insult to those individuals who've been waiting patiently to come here legally. What we ought to do is be rewarding those who want to come to this country, but not at the expense of those who have broken the law, who will take their place.
What was amnesty originally? That's if you were coming from a very hostile country and you needed to leave to preserve your life. And you wanted to come here because you had nowhere else to turn.
We cannot just let the people come through the border, then after so many years we give them amnesty or give them the right to stay. And I believe this is not fair. because some other people, they wait years and years till they get here. And at the same time, we're giving just the right for the people, just by being here so many years, we give him the right to be there. This is not right.
No, it's not given to, it's not something you should just be given. They broke into our country and they're demanding to be made part of it. That's like somebody walking into your house and taking over. Using your bed and your food and your...
Yes, it shouldn't be just given away. That's one thing. You have to work for it, follow all the legal paperwork you have to do, and earn it. And then that day is really a celebration because you work hard for it.
So, what would be a major consequence of amnesty?
Well, one of the problems with the amnesty provision is that it's going to allow those individuals to be eligible for Social Security benefits. And these are benefits that they have not paid in the full resources for, but yet their family will be able to be recipients of these programs for their children and for their dependents coming here. And as a result, it's going to disrupt our Social Security system, which financially is scheduled to go bankrupt, I believe, in about 2050 or 2060.
Do we blanket amnesty? No. Economically, we cannot afford that. Can we afford to go out and say, okay, let's see if you've paid your back taxes, let's see if you've stolen identification to be here and pretend that you're here legally? We don't have the economics for that either.
But having these additional millions of people being legalized and then entitled to the Social Security benefits is going to have a severe impact. And that's why many of the congressional representatives are trying to change that in the immigration reform bill that's being debated today.
Once the message is sent, you have to come here legally. People understand that. But when you saw what happened when the Bush administration threw out, okay, there's the possibility of amnesty. Everybody and their brother was jumping across, trying to come over here and do this. That doesn't help anything, and it doesn't solve the issue. It doesn't solve the problem.
How successful was the amnesty of President Reagan in 1986?
In general, it worked pretty well. It brought people out of the shadows. But it wasn't, number one, it really wasn't as complete as it could have been. So some people in families ended up getting green cards. Other people were still fighting out their case 20 years later. So it threatens to break up families. The sanctions on employers were never really enforced by the Reagan administration, the two Bush administrations, or the Clinton administration, so that they have not sent a single employer to jail, probably because the people they would send to jail are their campaign contributors.
What do we do with the 20 million illegals that are here?
You definitely cannot throw away people who came here, who live here for 10 years, who make a family, who have already children, and some children are born here. You cannot take these children and throw away them back to the country.
Yeah, if you're not invited to my house, and I come in here and you're sitting here, what am I going to do? If you're a stranger, what do you think I'm going to do?
Kick me out.
That's the best idea. I'm going to go reach my 44 and come after you. Very simple.
The illegal has no right to have any benefit because he is not paying taxes. How can you benefit somebody? He's not participating in the system.
What does that mean? You came to my home. You came to my home. America is my home. You're here. You're not invited. Very simple. I don't care when you jumped in here. You could come in my house and hide in the attic for 2 years. Find the food and live in here. What happens? After 2 years, you come and file and I have to give you half of my house? Or I have to provide food and room and board for you? Of course not. I don't care you had family up there. I don't care you had a whole nation up there. This is my house. I did not rent you the place, nothing. You came in, illegal. I don't care how you set it up all these years. You sucked the blood out of me. Now please have a nice day. Please have a nice day. Very simple.
They are illegal immigrants. It ends right there, period. They don't have no rights. They don't have nothing. And to give them, if they live here 5 years, 10 years, or 2 years, that doesn't entitle them to be American citizens.
So the question remains about the accountability for the children.
Can you imagine you're a kid who just happened to be that your parents trying to get a better life for you, and they came illegally here, but and after they take you, you grew up here, and they send you back to Mexico. I'm just giving, and you can understand from the point of view of this kid, what kind of freedom is this? And I don't think it's right, but I really don't have exactly the answer.
I do believe that children need to be taken care of. They are innocent victims in our system, regardless of how they got into this country. They need to be taken care of.
What do you do with the 12 million that's here already? Nothing. What happens is when you fix the trade agreements, they can either go back home. If people decide to be responsible and act legally and come through that door legally through the paperwork and get the sponsorship through the employers or the family members like they can, it starts to fix itself. And that's what we have to do.
A consequence of illegal immigration and a border that is out of control or dysfunctional is predatory violence. It doesn't stay solely on the south side of the border. It extends into our own communities. As you can see when you look at the communities of Imperial Beach, San Ysidro, Chula Vista, you can see the economic revitalization that has taken place. Prior to the inception of Operation Gatekeeper, which is the operation which has restored a semblance of order and control along the border, every night there were rapes, there were robberies, there were murders along the border. People would come from all over the world with all of their worldly possessions, and this would be a magnet for predators. We had what was called predatory violence, and every night it was tragic. It was appalling. But now you can see that with the reduction in apprehensions that has taken place, order and control has been restored along the border. These communities have been able to flourish. In an area where you could buy acres of land for as little as a few $100s, now it's several $100,000 for an acre of land. The economic restoration and the economic benefits and the quality of life, the enhanced quality of life for the residents is beyond anything anyone could have ever imagined in this border area, in these border communities.
What's interesting in Mexico, on their border relative to Central America, they have armed police preventing illegal immigration, where on the borders with the United States, they basically encourage illegal immigration. So they have not been a good partner in helping us stop illegal immigration. In fact, they've been encouraging it, which is wrong.
Although it is indeed an immigration issue, and that's one of our that is one of our top concerns. It's a security issue for the country as a whole. We are preventing the criminal element from coming in. We are preventing terrorists from coming in. We are making this a country based on legal, legitimate immigrants.
Well, if you're having a nation of law, you have to respect that law. And if we ignore this law, then we can ignore other laws. And if you continue that process, then you're one step away from anarchy.
I think one of the biggest challenges for the Border Patrol right now is letting the public know that the men and the women of this organization are out there as public servants. Our agents are out there to secure the border, to make the border safe. And it extends outward. It extends into our own communities. When we can secure the borders and prevent terrorists from coming into the country, when we can prevent the criminal aliens from coming into the country, we are protecting our communities. We're protecting our families. We're protecting society as a whole.
What is it that citizens can do to help alleviate some of the issues?
As a legal American, 18-year-old, a legal American, I think the first step is get involved with the grassroots organizations.
In Bergenfield, New Jersey, there's a couple of organizations, New Jersey Citizens for Immigration Control and United Patriots of America, along with You Don't Speak for Me. We have partnered and have initiated a petition drive in the city of Bergenfield that we're basically bringing out this petition, trying to get signatures only from registered voters in that town, because Bergenfield is another one of those towns that is facing big problems with gang activity as it involves illegal aliens, and in general, there's the concentration of illegal aliens in that small town of about 30,000 people. It's omnipresent. It's everywhere. So what we've started doing is getting this petition out to the registered voters, saying that we want the mayor to consider and expect actually that he partner up with Immigration Customs Enforcement to bring Program 287G to this town, because that would help the local police officers gain immigration authority again, so that if ever they catch a criminal who is an illegal alien, they can actually start the deportation proceedings. Oklahoma did something similar, stopping benefits for illegal aliens of any type, benefits like public assistance and welfare. Hazleton has approached it in a different way, going after landlords who rent to illegal aliens.
With the Minutemen, we don't want people hiring off the street. It's third worldish, it's not American, it didn't used to be this way, it's a traffic hazard, it's wrong. There's labor centers everywhere in every town in America. Labor Ready has 800 centers around town, around the country, where you can hire legally. The guys will be there legally. All the paperwork is done, all the taxes are paid.
There's a program by the Social Security Administration where you can verify Social Security numbers. Employers can contact them by phone, verify 5 Social Security numbers, but one of the things that they have to do is there are certain security precautions in place to make sure that it's a legitimate employer that's making that request.
We have to secure our borders, to begin with, and we have to stop this illegal immigration. I really do agree. We have to stop this illegal immigration for security of this country, for a lot of other reasons, and really look very strongly what can we do to help certain industry who say they cannot survive today without illegal immigration.
And what we need to do as good, healthy Americans, not only build our economy here, but encourage economies to grow in these smaller nations, because then they can give back as well. They can thrive, they don't have to leave their homes, they can build up their economics there, and that becomes healthy, and that becomes cycle, and that's what we need to get back to. We need to be able to form a union with those folks in South America and in Mexico. And what we need to do is help them be self-sufficient. Like that old saying goes, you give somebody a fish, they eat for a day. You teach them to fish, and they eat for a lifetime. And we not only need to bring that saying to these smaller countries, but we also have to bring it right here to home.
Voteless people are hopeless people, and that is true, because the power of the people is in your vote.
A solution that represents the best interest of the American people, American voter, people who were born here. This country belongs to them. It belongs to those who were born in America, and it belongs to those who were eventually naturalized to become American citizens. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You wouldn't deny the fact that Colombia belongs to the Colombians, Mexico to the Mexicans, China to the Chinese, and Russia to the Russians. America belongs to the Americans, nobody else. It doesn't belong to corporations, it doesn't belong to illegal aliens, and it doesn't even belong to those immigrants who are here legally, because they are under certain conditions that must be met. Otherwise, they're out of here. This country belongs to the American people, and Congress should first see that. Anytime they make a decision on anything, they should have the best interest of the American people at hand.
Study the issues, be informed, make a wise decision, vote.
Although there are no easy answers, one thing is clear. Illegal immigration is costly to everyone. American citizens, businesses, government programs and agencies, and those illegally immigrating themselves. A nation of immigrants, America was built on a dream. For all Americans, past, present, and future, it's up to us to protect and build that dream. What are your dreams for America? And more importantly, what are you willing to do to protect them?